What on earth is going on? Facundo Buonanotte is joining Chelsea on loan. I do not get this. Welcome to Seagull Central. My name is Adam MacDonald and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're a Chelsea fan and you've tuned in to watch this video, thank you for coming along. If you're a Brighton fan, part of this community, thank you for returning as always. If you like this content, if you find yourself coming back to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really, really means a lot to me. Right, let's get into it. What on earth is going on? We all thought Facundo Buonanotte was going to Leeds. We were all thinking it kind of makes sense. It's a decent loan. It's a decent move for a player who can't get in our side, who Hurzeler clearly isn't a massive fan of. But we've seen he's shown flashes. He's shown a couple of seasons ago a player that we could rely on, a player who, okay, never really set the world alight for us, but played a lot of minutes for us. Looked like a very good little player. Really needed minutes out on loan. This felt like a good loan. And then we hear the bomber at lunchtime today. What is it? Actually, it's a little bit later, about 2:30 today, that he's heading to Chelsea on loan. Now, this is just another one in the long line of Chelsea players that have gone to Brighton. And look, for Chelsea, many of them have worked out. Caicedo, Cucurella, João Pedro, good players. I do not get this one from a Chelsea perspective. I think from a Brighton perspective, if it is simply a straight loan to Chelsea, I don't mind it. I think it's not a bad move. I think if he can get in that side, if he can get a few minutes, if he can play with elite players, if he can play Champions League football and then come back to us, goodness me, what a loan move that has been. What it also does is it provides him with homegrown status after having played a certain amount of minutes in English football before the age of, 21 or something? He will be eligible to be a homegrown player after January. This is a great move for Brighton if it is a pure loan. I do not get this from a Chelsea perspective. Let me read out the article. This came from David Ornstein and The Athletic, who says this: Chelsea are closing closing to an agreement. I guess that makes sense. They're closing in on an agreement over a loan move for Facundo Buonanotte after Leeds saw their move for the Brighton Hove Albion attacker collapse. Leeds had booked a flight on Thursday afternoon to bring Buonanotte to West Yorkshire, but he never boarded. Jeez. Brighton had been in talks with Leeds over a loan move that kept the Argentina international in the Premier League and which would secure him homegrown status. They were confident, Leeds, that they were in the same place with the club and the player. The medical was booked. However, Chelsea have swooped in and they're going to sign him. Now, in this article, it says in the first line, are closing in on an agreement over a loan move for Facundo Buonanotte. Now, my questions would be this. Is this a loan move with an option to buy? Is this a loan move where we're going to see him back at the Albion? Is this a loan move which is the best for him? I don't know. I guess the Leeds loan move would be good in the sense that we know he'd be playing every single week. We know he'd be developing. We know he'd be playing Premier League football. We know all of this. Last season for Leicester, he played a lot of games, admittedly, towards the second half of the season after Ruud van Nistelrooy came in. He fell out of favour a little bit. For the first half of the season, many Leicester fans were saying he was one of their best players. He looked brilliant. He was playing in the Premier League week in, week out. Here, I don't know if he gets into that Chelsea side. Who does he get in over? He doesn't get in over Cole Palmer. He doesn't play centrally, does he, for Chelsea? Maybe he gets in over a Pedro Neto. Maybe, maybe he gets in over an Alejandro Garnacho. I just think they've got a lot of players here, and I don't really see how for Buonanotte this is a move where he gets a lot of regular football. What this strikes to me is that this might be a loan move with an option to buy. It really wouldn't surprise me if it was a loan move with an option to buy. In fact, I'm going to take a break and quickly just check a little bit more around it. So the reports say what we all think. It is a straight loan move. We got Alex Crook, who, for whatever you think of him, is very well connected on the South Coast, pick with Brighton, Bournemouth, Southampton, Portsmouth. And he's saying that Brighton were never going to entertain permanent offers. This is a straight loan. All of the reports are saying it's a straight loan. This is a bit of a weird one for me. I don't know how I feel about it. How can it be that he's not good enough to get into the Brighton 11? He's not good enough to support a Brighton side as a kind of secondary player in our squad, but he's good enough to do that for Chelsea. Now, clearly the answer is he is good enough to do that for us. He is good enough to be a backup player for Brighton this season and come in and support us when needed. Support players like Gruder, Rutter, Minteh, Mitoma. He can be one of the Watsons. He can be one of the Costulasses where they're on the bench and they'll get their 20, 30 minutes at the end of a game. He's easily good enough to be that. But he obviously isn't happy with that. He obviously wanted regular football. Now, that would look like it was going to happen with the Leeds move. That looked like that was what was going to happen. However, clearly, this move is maybe coming where he's gone, look, you don't want to be second choice at Brighton, but do you want to be second choice at Chelsea? And we're playing in the Champions League, we can maybe win a trophy and you can be part of our side. And he's gone, yeah, let's do it. For a season, it's a great opportunity for him. A team who've just won the Club World Cup, he might be able to come back to Brighton with silverware under his belt. He might come back to Brighton with a massively raised profile, with a raised stock where Brighton can then reassess things. He might then be deemed ready to a position where he has to start for Brighton. Next season. This could be a brilliant move for Brighton if it is just a loan move. I really like Buonanotte, I do. I think a couple of seasons ago, I think he used to get a fair bit of flack, didn't he? Because I think sometimes he was a little bit lightweight, and when he came in, it sometimes did take him a little bit of time to adjust to the Premier League. And I think really in that season where we were playing in Europe in 23-24, we probably didn't want to rely on him as much as we did. He was playing a lot of football back then. We saw injuries to people like Mitoma. God, who else were at the time? It would have been Solly March as well, was injured. And we had to play Buonanotte in a lot of games alongside players like Simon Adingra. And for all of his maybe lack of maturity and his lack of, and the element of rawness that he still had, actually, he looked like a very decent little player who worked hard, who was fairly creative. And this was like 2 years ago now. We're basically 2 years down the line from that. And he's in a position where now at 20 years old or so, 21 maybe, he's ready to maybe start for Brighton. And clearly Fabian Hurzeler doesn't want to offer him that. I think for Chelsea, it's an interesting move. It's a very interesting move. I think if you're a Leeds fan, you're gutted because they're clearly looking to try and improve in that number 10 and that right wing position. But for Brighton, I think maybe, what does this say? Does it say that someone like Gruder is going to be a much more prominent player than we think? Does it mean that someone like Matt O'Reilly, I don't know. I think what it means is actually that a lot of these fringe players that we expected to go out, your Seamers, your Buonanottes, are going to go out on loan. And I think the priority has been given by Fabian Hurzeler too. In that attacking position that Buonanotte would be fighting for, it's Gruder, it's Matt O'Reilly, it's Rutter, it's Minteh, it's Mitoma, and the two Greek lads. There are options this season. It's been clear in terms of what Hurzeler has shown, in terms of what he wants out of his players, in terms of who he likes, who he wants to play. I would love to know if in a year's time he came back after having a brilliant loan at Chelsea, or maybe even having a fairly average loan at Chelsea where he's in and out of the side. Would Fabian Hurzeler kind of have him as in part of his plans then, after he's come back and had a decent loan at Chelsea? I'd love to know. Will the player want to come back after a loan to Chelsea for a season? Would he want to do that? Feels a bit weird to me, that, doesn't it? But I suppose for Brighton, in terms of player development, player pathways, loan offers we can give, this feels like a pretty good one, doesn't it? Getting a player who can't get in our side into Chelsea, who can play Champions League football, who can play Premier League football, he can be part of a side, a squad that are potentially going to win trophies this season. I think it's a very, very interesting move for him. It's one to keep an eye on, one to watch, and exciting times. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments, do you think this is the right move for Buonanotte? Do you think this is the smart move for him? Do you think we should have maybe sent him out on loan to a lower league side where he might have played every week, or is this a good opportunity that nobody could turn down? Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, if you've got this far in the video, if you've enjoyed it and you've enjoyed my channel in the past, please hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on. I really, really appreciate you watching this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next one for the Man City preview. And as always, up the Albion.